Recorded live at the West Coast Outdoors and Sport Fishing Expo. It's the Real Angler Podcast with community Kevin Brannon. Brought to you by AFTCO Fishing Apparel and Tackle, designed to perform. Channel Islands Sport Fishing, offering deep-sea fishing on quality sport fishing charter boats, and more. Costa Sunglasses. Discover life's greatest adventures with Costa. See what's out there. Daiwa. If you want innovation and quality in your fishing products, Daiwa has what you need. Eagle Claw. American ingenuity and craftsmanship since 1925. And now, here's your host, community Kevin Brannon. Recorded live at the West Coast Outdoors and Sport Fishing Expo. Today's first guest, Erik Landesfeind, Regional Director, Central California, Coastal Conservation Association of California.
All right. How do you pronounce that, Erik?
Landesfeind.
Landesfeind.
Yeah.
What up with CCA? So, CCA, Coastal Conservation Association, how long have you been with them so far?
I'm coming up on 6 months. I just recently started.
That's good because I know they need help over there. I remember when I was there as a president, it was just Wayne.
Yeah.
And to see them growing and having some more staff. What do you guys up to? 3 staff now?
3 staff, yeah. And we're hoping to expand to a 4th this year or next.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right, so we have Erik interviewing. We wanted to talk to you about CCA, also because I'm a member, advocate for fishing, the work that we do. It's big right now. There's some MPAs that they might want to put out there fighting for your rights to fish. I wanted you to talk about some CCA and what's going on or anything coming down the pipeline, but we wanted to make sure we got somebody representing it so the people at home or fishermen know exactly what CCA is. Sometimes we see the acronyms for something, DFW, right, NOAA, ASA, and we don't know what they stand for. So
absolutely,
go ahead and give our viewers what it is.
Okay, so CCA California is the Coastal Conservation Association of California. We are the fishermen's advocacy group, and we represent all fishermen in Southern California. We have other organizations that we partner with, including SAC, which is the Sport Fishing Association of California, which works with sport boats, charter boats, and we have ASA is another part of the American Sport Fishing Association, which works with tackle manufacturers and tackle stores. What CCA is, we are the fishermen's advocacy group wherever you fish. And we're basically the wall that stands between you and people taking away your fishing rights. So our current events that are happening, you're not events, but current things that are happening is we're working on the MPA process. The environmental groups are trying to close more waters to fishing, and there's a big battle going on. So they had a bunch of petitions that people put in trying to
20,
say, we want
19 or 20 petitions, right?
Yeah, they want to close this, they want to close that, here's why. So the Fish and Game Commission rejected all of the proposed changes due to the fact that they didn't match the science needed or the legislation of the Marine Life Protection Act, which is what established the MPAs, which are the marine protected areas. So right now what we're doing is we're working with our partner organizations at the local meetings. We had one in San Mateo last week where they talked about all the proposed closures up there. We have one Tuesday and Wednesday of this week in Santa Barbara, and then we have ones going down the coast. I don't remember the exact dates of those. So what's happening right now is a bunch of the environmental groups and colleges, we had that up in San Mateo, like people from UC Berkeley, UC Davis, they just rallied a bunch of their students to come out, gave them T-shirts, gave them signs, and they came out to say, hey, we want to protect more of the ocean because, global warming is causing kelp to die off, so we need to protect that. And while these people have grand ideas and all these feel-good things they want to do, they're not scientifically proven. An example of that we're fighting in multiple areas right now is they're talking about the kelp die-off due to climate change. And while that could be agreed on or disagreed on, it is true that we've had warmer water the last few years. That's not good for kelp growth. And what they're seeing is that in the closed areas in the MPAs, the kelp is more abundant. So they're saying, well, if we close more areas, we'll have more abundant kelp, which is ridiculous because the reason the kelp is good in the current MPAs is they took all the best areas of structure along our coast and closed them down. And that obviously, and a lot of those places are near canyons and things that cause cold weather upwelling, which helps the kelp thrive. And they think, well, if we close these other areas, we'll get more kelp there as well. And that is just false. And that's one of the reasons a lot of these things were kicked out. But now we have the Ocean Protection Council trying to advise, because they didn't like that they didn't get all their changes, and now they're trying to fight to change it again. But we have lawyers on standby and everything else in case they try and do that. So basically, we're an organization that works with the other organizations in the area cumulatively to fight for you guys' right to fish.
And CCA isn't just California; it's in the Gulf, it's on the East Coast. It's a national association, so it's not just a California thing. I was just in Washington D.C. for the fly-in, and I was with the California group that was representing California, and you had groups that were representing the Northeast from the Gulf, and down in Florida. So there's things that go on in all these different states that CCA is out to do. So it's not just a California organization, which means, again, when you're talking to scientists and comparing, I was just at your guys' fundraiser Thursday night in Long Beach, and the work that they're doing tagging, pelagic fishing, the work that goes on, so that we have recreational-based science to match what just the scientists say to make sure that we have equal say. But how important it is, again, CCA is going from coast to coast, capital cities, and the nation's capital.
Yeah, and it's interesting you have the fisherman-based science. So one of the problems we have in California is that while they like to close things, they don't allocate any. The state does not allocate money for research as to what they're closing. So a lot of the closures they have are reactive. An example is the barred sand bass. They wanted to close that the entire summer due to the fact that big numbers of sand bass weren't being caught, and they said, well, this species is compromised here, and we need to close it down to protect it. As it turns out, after they did that, we had the biggest spawning aggregations of sand bass across the entire coast that very year. So one of the things we did at CCA when they heard they wanted to shut that down, and they only changed the limit from 5 to 4, but it's up for review again. So what we did is we collected data we do a star tournament every summer. It runs from Memorial Day to Labor Day, and it's basically each fish can qualify any species. It has to be a certain length, like a surf perch has to be 9 inches, the spotted baby bass 15, caliber sand bass 18.
Surf perch are on the list this year?
Yeah. And so basically every sand bass that was caught, regardless of the size, we had our anglers take a photo of it on the measuring board, and we collected the exact size of the fish, the day it was caught, time of day, location, method of catch, if you're on a sport boat, if you're on a skiff, if you're on a kayak. And we submitted to the Fish and Game Commission over 1,800 sand bass samples in a set. So we have all this data that we could give them, and they were very excited to get that. And they're asking us to continue doing that because 1 year of data is not enough to do scientific studies on. But if we give 5 years of data or 10 years of data, they can start making some decisions based on our information, which is angler-driven science as opposed to special interest-driven science, which is what we've had since Fish and Game Commission doesn't have the money to do it. Groups like the NRDC, Surfrider Foundation, these anti-fishing groups pay scientists to come up with information that suits their agenda.
If you get money to find dinosaur bones, you better go find a dinosaur bone. I'm just going to say that.
You're 100% right on that.
I heard this. I remember I took oceanography, and Christopher Columbus went looking for spices and came back with the wrong. Didn't come back with spices, and that could cost you all your funding. That can make a mockery of your name, right? So this isn't anything new. No. But when you're going on a voyage and you're using other people's funding to do something, you better come back with results, right?
Yep.
And
100%.
Good or bad, but that's what's good about CCA, which is me advocating for. We're doing a surf fishing tournament ourselves, and the reason I asked that question, because I didn't know the barred surf perch was on there, is that it's going to be a citizen-based science event, right?
Good.
Everything counts, but we want you to measure everything, take a photo. Our students, our interns will document what it was, the water temperature. A lot of the stuff that we have for our logs that we're doing, we do a lot of citizen-based science.
Yep.
I forgot the name of the organization up here. They have a sheephead logo. You know what that is? NSRP or something?
I do. You know what I'm talking about,
right?
I know what you're
so
talking about.
The Aloha spirit, again, of our sport fishing boats and our recreational boats help. We do the sea bass pens the hatchery program. The gentleman sport fishing boat took them out so we could release them. And, of course, they need science. Do you think the fish are going to do better outside the harbor versus inside where all the predators are waiting to eat them, right? but they're going to do studies for 10 years to see if that worked. But you would think that that's a no-brainer. That's a given, right? But we started doing our own little versions of citizen science because I was on the Aloha one day cooking. They brought those citizen fishermen out there where this organization just tracks everything. The anglers come out the fishermen, so you got the boat providing the vessel. The anglers do the fishing, and the scientists tag and measure and release. And these MPAs, they get a permit for a couple of days, and that's the evidence that we're able to use alongside of it. So you can see how our industry practices conservation, sustainability, citizen science from our standpoint. Not just, what was that, special interest?
Yeah.
Whatever. Going. I don't.
And the one thing I'm going to add to that is you talk about sea bass. So CCA California, we are in charge of starting this year, we got the permits to collect broodstock for the Hubs grow-out facility for sea bass, so for the Hubs hatchery. So what had happened in the past is the permit was held by Hubs, and anytime we went to collect sea bass to put into the pens to breed, they would have to have a person from Hubs on board. And people that are busy working at a lab often say, let's go catch sea bass a week from Tuesday. That's not how it works. So we're currently working with actually Brandon Hayward from Bite Sport Fishing and a couple other guys to get them collecting these sea bass and putting them into the pens of Catalina so that we can use them as our new breed stock. And I think that's going to be a big impact. So that's
I think that's attributed, again, going back to, because again, I started with CCA as a president. I think I was the third or fourth. So to see more staff, more of these boats that are helping out, the way the assignments have been passed around because of the longevity and the dedication of CCA. So again, people that see it, when you see them at a show at, PCS show or show like this, and they're like, get signed up, become a member. It's very important. But if you see an acronym or just a symbol or something, you might not know exactly what that means, right? So it's really good to see that they're continuing to grow, because what happens is you have other organizations that have started. I won't say any names, but unfortunately, when you're going against some of those other ones, if you don't have the infrastructure and the resources, we're going to lose, right?
Yeah.
We're going to get some pretty big, powerful machines out here. So to make sure that we have enough resources to fight this, and it's not, I don't want to say fight, for us to be able to be in the fight. How's that, right?
Yeah, exactly right.
That you had to be in long term. Oh, they'll fizzle out in 5 or 6 years. They can't compete with us. To be around here this long, again, a national organization from all coasts. That just shows in more of the fishermen buying in and the recreational boats and all these other parts of the industry. Because people stay on the outside like, what are these people? What are they doing? But you can tell that hard work is paying off when more people are stepping up.
Yeah. So the one last thing I want to say here is that in light of all the things that are happening in Sacramento right now, what we've started doing at CCA is we have something called our advocacy fund. And so basically the way CCA works, we make our money off fundraising normally. And we have a membership. We do our star tournament. So what we're doing now is we're doing a fund that you can just contribute to on a monthly basis. It starts at $25 a month. It covers your membership. It covers your star tournament entry. But what it is, it's basically the equivalent of paying for a streaming service, but instead of watching shows on TV that you're probably not going to watch, we fight for your right to fish in Sacramento. And a lot of people want to be involved, but they're busy. They can't go to meetings. They're busy working. They're busy doing other things. For 81 cents a day, you can pay for people to come and do it. And, we as fishermen have a lot more power than we know, but we have to get together on it. We have over 100 people in our advocacy fund already. And if we get that to 1,000 or 2,000 people, we're going to be an unstoppable force for fishing.
And here's what's the important part before I let you go, because our next guest is there, is this is the important strategy that we're utilizing for this. Because us passionate fishermen, we can go into a meeting with emotion, right? And we can make ourselves look like we don't know exactly what we're talking about, right? We could show up looking a little foolish. Yeah. So by having the right people to go in there as representatives that love sport fishing as well is a huge dynamic, right?
Yeah.
Because again, if I walk in there and this is what they used to do. Again, I'm in this industry 36 years now. You walk in there, gosh dang, like, see these crazy fishermen don't know what they're talking about, and we can look bad. There's proper representations, everything, right? When you go to jail, right? Johnny Cochran, you might got him. It's going to help you out, right? You do need the right defense. So the point of that is that by us sending in people that love fishing, strategizing, representing fishermen is the way to go. So that way we can articulate what everything he's just saying versus the mob approach with pitchforks, because we do know what we're talking about.
Yeah.
But when you go into a room and you're fired up and they're taking away your livelihood, you might deliver it in a way that doesn't, where we're going to be able to do it. So now we have the sensible science docked in with the right people in the team, with the right support and funding, and now that's why you see things changing and things are going the way they are. So
absolutely. So to put a bow on that,
bow it up.
90% of the decisions that are made in government are made before the hearings start. And one of the advantages of having people like Tony Bangos, who's our government relations person, Wayne, who's retired but still involved, is the personal relationships they develop with the people on the commissions, the people in the working groups, the people in the studies. And if they, so instead of having a bunch of fishermen going with 100 different opinions, we have that 100 opinions filtered into one person who has a relationship with the people on the Fish and Game Commission, who meets up for coffee before a meeting, and that's how the sausage is made in Sacramento and Washington D.C. everywhere else, and that's what it comes down to.
That's what they said. We got to D.C. You got to watch how the sausage is made. It was funny, right? Like, I don't want to see the noses and the ears, but that being said, I was giggling because when I showed up, I was in board shorts and my Dodger hoodie because I'm always representing this California thing, right? And Glenn Hughes is like, "You didn't dress up for me, huh?" But it was just a cocktail party. But they said tomorrow we go to Capitol Hill. We don't want to see no fishing shirts. Like, I had to buy 2 suits. Even Scotty asked, because year before I was at Chow, and he's like, "What are you going to wear?" And I went in my Bass Pro Shops jersey because I'm a recreational fisherman. But we're on Capitol Hill. We're professional.
Yep.
And everybody, man, you've never seen so many fishermen suited and tied and booted to go in there and break into these little 9 or 10 groups and go on. I got goosebumps talking about it, man, because that's really the strategy. They expect us, maybe not anymore, but previously going in there smelling with our deck boots right off of a boat versus looking that way, intelligently professional to fight for our to stay in the fight, I should say. We didn't pick it, but we're going to stay in it, right?
Right, and I'll say that while everybody has their own opinions about how stuff should be handled, what CCA does is it gives everybody a rope to pull on. And if you have 100 people, they're all going to pull on a rope in their own direction, and it's going to be the strength of one person. But if you get 100 people pulling on the same rope, you're a lot more powerful.
All right. We have our heels dug in the sand. Boy, you ain't going nowhere.
I wouldn't want to have a tug of war against you, I'll tell you that.
He's right, you know. I don't know, bro. You kind of spoiled too. All right, my friend, bring it in. Thank you, man, very much. I'll send this to you when it's done.
Recorded live at the West Coast Outdoors and Sport Fishing Expo. Our next guest, Steve Schalla, President of Sespe Fly Fishers.
We good?
Good.
All right. So I have Steve. I finally get to meet Steve. The reason I say finally is I know Erik, again, is a CCA member and was on the board with us over there as well when we got it started. But he's always like, we got to get you guys fired up with the Sespe, fly fishing. We haven't done it. And my Instagram is called The Fly Fisherman. I don't fly fish, but I fish fly. See, I always got my apparel, got to look real fly, but I want to try some fly fishing. So finally able to sit down with you, man, and talk and, hear what you guys are doing. And I know Marshall might have went by your guys' booth before a couple times, talking to you guys about something that we could do, making flies. But go ahead and introduce yourself, Steve, a little bit more and tell them exactly what you guys do, and then we'll just ask some questions.
Yeah. Well, we have a fishing club called Sespe Fly Fishers here in Ventura. We've been around for 55 years and have about 140 active members. It's a fishing club so that we have our members that are occupied doing outings. So we're going to be going to northeast Nevada in a couple weeks, fishing the Duck Valley Reservoir. And then after that, we're going up to Oregon and we're fishing the Rogue River for cutthroats and steelhead. We just got back from fishing about 2-3 weeks ago, the San Juan River down in New Mexico. So we get around. And then we have local members that take out, do the local trips. So there's plenty of fish over on the Sespe River. It's only a 30-minute drive from Ventura. You can get into some wild rainbows there.
Really?
Yes.
So we do
have fishing here.
Yeah, we do a TV fishing show. Maybe we really need to put down a calendar where we can bring our team out and do a film. And it's a documentary style, so we could do it. I did one film so far, fly fishing, the saltwater fault. We did rock fishing. And Santa Rosa Island with these fly fishermen. I forgot the name of their club, but I jumped on the CJ with them. No, the Island Tack, and we did a trip showing them how to catch.
Yes, we have about 3 or 4 local trips on the Island Tack. It's fly fishing only.
Yeah.
And it's a gas because we'll use Clouser minnows and a deep sink line. We'll go over to Santa Cruz, and you're fishing down about 40 feet with this Clouser minnow. We're picking up calicos. We're picking up sometimes halibut, sometimes even yellowtail.
What's that like?
Oh,
Hooking into a yellowtail on a fly rod. Tell me about
exciting.
that
Well, you know, the one that really got me was when we were about a mile off of Malibu, and we're getting these 13-inch calicos, and then these white sea bass were coming up. And next thing is they were eating the calicos that we had on the fly. So now you've got a 20-pound white sea bass on this 8-weight fly rod, and you're working that for like 20 minutes.
Look at him light up when he's telling that story. You see him right now?
You're getting up to the boat, and that white sea bass looks at you, and he just coughs up that calico and says, "See ya, bye."
Is it filletable still?
Well, you know, that's the one. If you're not fast with the gaff, you lose it.
Well, the reason I mean the calico, because I've had sea lions eat I've seen them eat like half a tuna or half of something, and I'm like, I could still cut around. You know what's interesting? Just wondering, because I wasn't stopped by the Department of Fish and Wildlife. If you come back with a short fillet, I'm like, where's the rest of the fish? Be like, the sea lion ate it. Like, yeah, sure, pal, here's a ticket, right? But I've seen them where I think we could salvage some of that meat off of the fish that's been eaten by another fish. Well, that's just me.
We have fun. And we'll go over to, say, Anacapa, and we'll be catching some whitefish. And I've had one time, I think we had 7 anglers, and we caught 360 whitefish. It's 16 to 18 inches. Your arm is aching by the end of the day.
Well, those whitefish, I think pound for pound, they got to be one of the part. You get 2, like, because we double dropper loop for them a lot of times. I'm working on the gentleman and stuff, and you get 2 of those. We call them Anacapa yellows because if you get a good size one, it's going to fight. So I can just imagine that on a fly rod.
Fun fish.
I haven't done it. I'm smiling just because I know that these fish pull. And the reason that's cool for you guys to listen to why we did that one, they have the Fly Fish Film Tour. And I wanted to start putting our films into festivals. Okay. Is the fact that fly fishing isn't just like Montana. You know what I'm saying? Where it's just a stream that you get to see surf fishing. You have, what's his name here? The fly fish the surf. What's his name?
Lee Berryman.
Yeah, Lee, right? And then the guy's name that you might know him, it's Mike. Is it Mike Schmortz? He's the one that holds the sea bass.
Michael Schweik.
There you go. He's the one that it was his fishing club, and he owns the sea bass world record for a fly, caught on a fly, right? So to show people that fly fishing isn't just, what is that movie? A River Runs Through It, which I love that movie. But you guys get to do a lot.
We also do the first Saturday with the Santa Barbara Fly Fishers. We have a joint outing first Saturday of the month at the Rincon, so it's all surf fishing. Really? And we have people there that'll bring in extra rods and teach you how.
What time is that?
That's about 8 o'clock in the morning over at the at the Rincon.
I'm gonna get your info, okay? Because I'd like to tag along and film some of this and check it out if you don't mind.
Yeah. They get Joe Narkovich hosts that out of the Santa Barbara Club, and he usually has about 15 to 20 people there.
Really?
Yeah, they scatter up on the beach. We have an annual tournament that we do at the Rincon. We call the Riptide Rendezvous, and we'll get up to about 75 anglers, and they'll catch over 300 perch. Yeah, I think the best day we've had was we had one guy catch about 25 perch in a 4-hour morning. So the fishing is there.
Yeah. Bring me one of those surf fishing flyers. A surf fishing flyer. I'm gonna give you one of our flyers. We're gonna be doing a surf fishing derby for our nonprofit. Maybe you could help us share this. But if there's a way, man, so our television show is on national television, and YouTube and local access here. I'll give you this.
We do have it'll be in September this year. We have
put the laptop on.
Fly Fishing Film Festival, and that's the IF4 films. I have at our booth. We have 7 trailers to show on that. So as you mentioned, it's fly fishing from all over the world, but it's a lot of flats.
Anywhere in particular that you I used to watch the Spanish Fly. That was one of the first shows I used to watch with Jose back in the day. Yeah, and he would fish like tarpon and stuff on a fly. Is there anything anywhere that you've like just set a memory? Because our slogan is catch a memory, and any memories you want to make where you're like, I want to go fish. I've seen them catch like shark on those big shrimp, like a fly that look a shrimp fly.
Yeah.
Which is
Yeah.
So give us two of those. One is where you've been so far where you're like, this is just over the top incredible, and then where you want.
Well, the San Juan River was really incredible. That was about 2-3 weeks ago. I brought my daughter along. She outfished me. And the last day, she got a 23, two 22s, and a 20-inch rainbow.
Do you guys eat them too? Do you guys practice
No,
catching?
it's all catch and release.
Okay.
And then we're using a small size 20 to size 22 hook. So you're getting, this 23-inch trout and a little teeny hook like that. And you just right on the lip. So you have to use some finesse. You can't overpower them or you're going to pull that hook right out.
Do you guys do it where when I'm teaching some of it, I talk to this student or anybody we're fishing about the importance of using the bait that's there. When you do your flies, calling matching the hatch, do you guys kind of get am I telling the right truth that you guys really get the flies and really try to mimic the feather and everything, how important it is to match the fly to what the fish are eating?
Yeah, that's kind of a point of interest for a lot of fly fishers to match the hatch. They'll go out and they'll net the insects, they'll look at the colors, they'll look at the size. But then when you've been fly fishing for a while, you realize that that's not always true. A lot of times there's certain flies that are called attractor flies, and everything will eat them. So we have probably about a dozen flies that you can use anywhere at any time. One of our members is Yvon Chouinard, the founder of Patagonia. He uses one fly. That's a pheasant tail, soft hackle pheasant tail. And he's used it all over the world. And he's caught over 40 different fish on this one fly.
Tried and true. Where city do you stay in?
Where what?
What city do you live in?
I live in Ojai.
Okay.
Yeah.
We have a learning center in the Channel Islands Harbor. I'd probably see about inviting you down to see the stuff that we got, because we have a little section. We have like a museum, so people donate stuff. So we have like some feathers and little nets. They would fish, and it's all in one little section. Even I don't do as much trout and stream stuff that's donated. I still wanted to have that. We have some a few fly rods that were donated. They're real old that we just kind of keep on display. We kind of have like a history in a museum in our.
That's great.
Center. And,
that's great.
We also look for guest speakers, so maybe we'll see about. I'm just going to call you a bunch of times now that we met, because I think there's some cool stuff that we could either highlight on film or show, or the education. And I'm a nature nerd, so I'd like to also showcase like those. The visualization of our film is cinematic. So like the streams and the sounds and the trees, and when it's could it be in bloom, or is it the fall they're growing in, and stuff like just the whole backdrop and the layout of some of these incredible places too. It's not just catching the fish, it's just some of the scenery as well.
One of our members is Gary Bula out of Santa Paula, and he's a fishing guide down in Baja, and has a number of world records on the fly. But they're mostly fishing for rooster fish there and permit. So we get, in fact, we had some film of him down there. He's been doing it for 20 years, and he has a family down there in Baja that has their own resort. He's now on the second generation of this family working together as a fishing guide. So he's got, I think, 3 or 4 pangas, which they're all family. This is the Romero family, and he has a gas. It's fun.
So is there anywhere that you're still looking forward to that's on your list of like me? What I want to do, man, a couple of places I want to be. I want to go to Egypt just to do some stuff, but I want to fish like in my second place is the rainforest, man. I want to go down and be like, sorry, Kevin can't answer. He's down on the Amazon rainforest filming and fishing, and just the whole sense of everything. Is there any place that's on your list?
Gary's put some. He's been fishing the Amazon. He has some guide trips that go down on the Amazon, and we have other guides that do the same. So those are great. In fact, there was one that when I'm going to be fishing in Northwest Washington or Northeast Nevada, Rob Anderson out of Reno, he works that Amazon, and what he has is a series of about 10 floating houses, and they go and the fish migrate. So they follow the fish with this tethered cabins that are floating.
Well, that's what you wanted.
And they float up the river with these cabins, and you go to the next spot. So you're not ever stuck at any one spot. These houses float. Anyway, it's a gas.
That's a real mobile home. I mean, it's not a mobile, but definitely that's a different type of.
And to get there is tough because you have to take a plane, and then you might have a bus, then you might have a float plane, that gets you to some of these remote spots. Yeah. That's a bucket list.
That's your bucket list?
That's one bucket list. Yeah.
Cool, man. Yeah, Florida was one of my spots, and I got to go fish the Everglades with the guy from there that did. He likes to fly fish for tarpon and bonefish and stuff, man. His name is Rhino. But me just being in the Everglades, so when I started my filming and the way I do it, I was a big PBS fan. So I remember LeVar Burton from Reading Rainbow. He was in the Everglades, and he brought up all these fish, and they caught him. They're talking about ecosystem and how healthy it was. So when I was finally down there, I just put my stuff away. I filmed a little bit of my fishing. I just wanted to just chill. And there were these little, the way the guide took us, you kind of go through these little on-ramps in between, and where you just tuck in, and the branches go right over you, and you go through, and then you open up in this area, and you take off, and then you go through this other little tunnel canal, and man, it was.
Well,
it was
what
incredible.
makes fly fishing really unique, especially in comparison to bait or spin fishing, is that you're always active and hunting. So you're really sight fishing for these fish, and you're casting to them. So a lot of times, on a fly rod, to have a 30, 40 fish day is very normal.
Wow. Hear that?
Yeah. And it's you're getting out and you're actually hunting. So it's not, you don't have time to sit down and have a beer. And then that's when you're done fishing. But we can take a break, and a lot of fly fishers, what they'll do is they'll take that break and then just watch the water. And there's so much to learn watching the water, seeing these fish come up at different areas, what they're eating, what they're doing.
Good to see you.
So a lot of what we do as a club is try to get the education of fly fishing out to them. So one of the things that we do is we also take inner city kids from out. It was Outward Bound, it's called. And Thatcher School in Ojai has a camp over near in the eastern Sierra near Cottonwood Lakes. They call it Golden Trout Camp. And we'll take about 30 of these kids in inner city. They never had a backpack on. They've never slept outside, never held a fly rod before. And they all come in with these inner city attitudes. And by the end of 5 days, these kids are milk. And then they love what they're doing. They total change in attitude, And that's, as a club, that's what we get a lot out of, is letting people know the enjoyment of being outside, being out there and doing what I would call more of a hunting activity in terms of fishing rather than a bait fishing where you're just throwing it out and waiting. So you're always being active. And it's been good. We have a group. We're affiliated with the Fly Fishers International. So we have 22 fishing clubs throughout Southern California that are part of that. And then, so a lot of these clubs, like the Santa Barbara Fly Fishers and ours club, the Sespe, down in San Fernando Valley, there's the Sierra Pacific. A lot of these clubs work together, and we have joint outings, and we put together events that bring the community together. Yeah.
All right, so that's going to do it right here with Steve from Sespe Fly Fishing. I'm going to call you a bunch of times.
All right, good.
Does that sound like a good idea?
Well, let me give you my card.
I can see mine in the back of yours right there.
Yeah,
there's me.
Yeah, I saw
Community
that.
Kev. Yep, I think I might have your card still in my back pocket still because I grabbed them all. Let's see if we're looking the same, bro. I had it earlier. Anyway, thanks for giving it to me again. All right, my friend, waiting for China Wild and Sport Fishing to get here. Please take this.
Okay.
This is a surf fishing, anything counts, and they put it in there. $40 entry fee, and that's our program over there. I'll give you more about Real Guppy Outdoors. We take everybody, all kinds of kids and families out fishing, the educational side of ecosystem habitats, getting them started. So, get them hooked, and then,
super. All right, Kevin. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate it.
Go. Oh, here comes China Wild and Sport Fishing now. Oh, but got his thunder shades on the inside. Thanks, man. That was a great interview, man. Thank you.
Recorded live at the West Coast Outdoors and Sport Fishing Expo. This has been a Rough Edge Studios production.